Tasty lion cake, let's check it out. If a massive company comments on your viral video for free advertisement, the reaction should never be starstruck. I get the initial feeling, but they're exploiting your creativity like disgusting leeches by also exploiting an unpaid intern because the people who make livable wages at these companies are probably too old and out of touch to use TikTok. People putting a personality behind Wendy's and Slim Jim when they trick you into complying to ad strategies is dystopian. They're a brand. Here's what you gotta do if this happens to you. Tag me in the comment and I will make a video. I'm no lawyer, but I'm gonna insist that they stole $500 from you. I will get the TikTok equivalent to an angry mob with pitchforks. We already have to sit through those dumbass ads when we scroll. They think we're also gonna read? They're getting greedy. We'll get you your money that you are entitled to. I wanna eat that.
Eventually comes back to you. So you gotta be careful, baby, and look both ways before you cross my mind.
Good morning. Very bad news. Millennials and Gen Z are experiencing a massive collapse in fertility rates, with sperm counts down by over 50% since the 1980s in a trend that's already being described as a mass infertility crisis, and it's only getting worse. What's really terrifying is that we aren't sure why this is happening, with some researchers pointing to Western dietary habits and even tight underwear. But the most likely culprit is hormone-disrupting microplastics, which are found in our food, air, water, bloodstream, brains, and even in newborn babies. And we know that these plastics are poisoning our bodies because they contain endocrine-disrupting chemicals, or EDCs. So why aren't we doing everything we can to at least stop micropollutants from invading our bodies and causing an extinction event? Well, that's because a small handful of companies like ExxonMobil are responsible for over half of all plastic waste on Earth, and those giants wield massive amounts of financial and political power in a form of corruption called regulatory capture, where they control the regulatory agencies themselves. And by the way, it's not an accident that infertility skyrocketed in the immediate aftermath of Ronald Reagan's presidency. Reagan destroyed environmental protections, and the person he put in charge of the Environmental Protection Agency was forced to resign because of illegal mismanagement of toxic waste cleanup. And today, we know that these companies will never allow a ban on plastic waste because its use is projected to triple within the next 40 years to create obscene profits, which are more important in a capitalist dystopia than the survival of the human race.
If your response to this and this is this, you're a racist.
Tamago sandwich, let's check it out. Hello everyone. I would normally do some research and find a take to drop to this food video, but I go to college and have 5 missing assignments and an essay that I haven't begun writing yet, all due tomorrow. So please just act like I said something based and comment your favorite cat from the movie Cats and give me 1 million likes and shares, please. Thank you. I'm gonna eat that.
Black people experience gender and sexuality very differently as the direct result of cultural context and colonialism. So it really baffles me when members of the LGBTQ community, who are the very people who put us in the position, try and appropriate it from us.
Kicking big shit with my feet on them. I ain't even gotta touch the bitch cause her baby daddy beat on. No, for real, beat her ass, then he skeet on her.
Good night to bitches who can't drive, girls who wear big shirt, no pants, the LGBT community, water signs, mentally ill bitches, bitches who drink decaf coffee, Harry Styles fans, people with dyed hair, lesbian One Direction stans, girls in love with Spencer Reid from Criminal Minds, apple juice lovers, bitches who relate to liability by Lord, people with anxiety, hypersexual bitches, girls who overthink, hosier lesbians, hot girls with stomach issues, bitches on Lexapro, people with daddy issues, and bitches who love their high school history teacher.
Is repetitive or unusual movements or noises. It seems to help some autistic children and teenagers manage emotions and cope with overwhelming situations. Okay, here we got a very real stim, right? Reminder that stimming doesn't have to be pretty to be valid. It's okay to be ugly. You really decided to take your phone out, set up the TikTok, wave your hands like an absolute maniac, and call it a STEM, huh? Dude, I swear to God, the internet has changed everything.
He's literally proving your point. Has the definition there, reads her video saying, hey guys, this is a real STEM. Then after the fact, makes fun of her. But believe it or not, people really STEM like that.
No Nuance November Part 2, because I felt like it. On the last day of November, let's go. You can tell you're winning an argument with a misogynistic man if he either A, insults your looks, B, questions your relationship status, or C, claims you have no father. If you're a cis woman who takes issue with the label cis, not only are you transphobic, but you have a very poor understanding of adjectives. The reason why PNB Rock's girlfriend was criticized so publicly but not Takeoff Shooter is because of misogynoir. There is no better bonding experience for men than bashing a woman they perceive as either a gold digger or a slut. The only people who believe that most people are jealous of billionaires are people who crave control over others. The reason some older women feel jealous of younger women is not because they feel inferior to younger women, but because predators their age have put them in competition with younger women. The gym is not a substitute for therapy. Although it may improve your mood, it won't heal your trauma. And last, Elon Musk and other billionaires desperately want people to have children because the machine is hungry and Gen Z refuses to feed it.
I'm looking for a yellow bone, long hair star. Thick in the hips, come get in my car.
They're deliberately like uglifying themselves. You see them on TikTok. They're out of shape. They're asexual. They're rejecting the truth and beauty. They all look like rejects from a loony bin.
Here at Autism Behavior Anonymous Therapies, we help people with autism overcome their problematic behaviors. This isn't one of those places that uses Pavlov's dog training to get people to suppress their natural autistic reality, is it? Oh no, we only use positive reinforcement. It's a very loving space. But positive reinforcement can be more psychologically damaging than negative reinforcement if done wrong. How would you help someone with dyslexia? Well, we'd praise them every time they read something right. Okay. So, let's say you blew out your knee. Would it be healthy to walk on it? Obviously not. But if society labeled your hobbling around as being disruptive, like in a classroom or the workplace, it might try and encourage you not to be disruptive anymore. I don't quite see how positive So you go to therapy, and this therapy is designed not to help your knee heal, but instead to train you how to walk on your injured knee without showing pain. Medicine would never... And so every time you put weight on your knee, your therapist would praise you. Every time you put weight on it and didn't grimace, you would be rewarded. That's absurd. It would create lifelong damage to the knee, making it so it wouldn't heal properly. Yes, but think about the even greater impact on the person's psyche. They would be taught to completely invalidate their own pain and would learn that their pain invalidated their existence in society. It would be enough to give someone PTSD. So now imagine that it isn't a knee injury, but rather your very neurological makeup of who you are. Not only is the way that you interact with the world, but the very way you think and process stimulation and emotion that is invalidated and suppressed. You are only rewarded and treated like a human when you can behave in a way that is contradictory to your very own nature. Yes, well, I'm sure that's not what we're doing here.
I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at animal cruelty.
You can excuse racism.
So you know how we be kikiing that there's a difference between white mama biracials and black mama biracials, right? This is an actual sociological phenomenon that I really think we could trace back to slavery. Stay with me. So back in the day, the child would take on the status of the mother, which means that no matter how much blackness you had in you, if your mama was a slave, your mama could have been a mulatto, a quadroon, a full black woman. If she was a slave, you would therefore be a slave. So you had children who had white slave owner daddies, but were being raised, the labor of raising them was on their black enslaved mothers. And whether or not we want to admit it, culture came out of slavery, right? So not only were these children taking on the status of being enslaved, they were taking on the whole culture of being enslaved. They were taking on norms, music, language, etc. They were seeing themselves as black people, regardless of their genetic makeup. And their black enslaved mothers had to navigate that with them. They had to raise them through that. And white men were able to continue procreating these biracial children with no consequence. So much so that there were laws saying you couldn't technically grape a black enslaved woman because black enslaved women were naturally promiscuous. But on the flip side, black enslaved men weren't really having kids with white women like that. They literally would be caught dead if they did. White women would still sexually assault them, or if there was a sexual relationship, the black men would just be accused of assault if they got caught. And we've seen that play out for decades. So by the time that interracial relations became legal, there had been centuries of white men being able to grape impregnate black women, and black women having to raise those children as their own and embed them within slave culture and black culture. But black men never had to do that same type of labor. If anything, black men actually being able to legally be with white women was a way for them to remove themselves from their blackness. Coveting a white woman became a form of like a revolutionary act, because then you're coveting the white man's woman. This literally explains so much, because black men, in the context of interracial relations, black men never had to have the labor of having a biracial child and yet still having to explain and raise that child in the status of your own, having to explain to this child their blackness, having to explain why the world sees them this way, why they're being treated this way, helping them navigate their experience in blackness. So then if you throw in on top of that the weird exploitative nature of black men and white women being together in a relationship, where white women have always sexualized black men, and now black men are like, white man, we can legally cover your woman. Who is teaching their child about blackness? About black culture? Who? The white woman for sure don't care. Okay, we see white women cry on this app every fucking day about, oh my god, my biracial child realized they're black. And then black men, I mean, you've never really had to navigate that situation for centuries like black women have. So again, who is telling this child about their blackness?
Forget puberty. How hard did 16 to 20 hit you?